Yeah, and it's being
I'm
recorded,
sorry,
so that's good.
we missed the first verse. If you want to repeat, sorry.
Okay, all right, all right. After having heard to Bhagwan, like we have heard so many times, so this disciple also in verse 47, he asked the questions, 7 questions were asked, if I may remind you. The 7 questions were answered in detail by the Guru. And so, because of because Guru Vachana is there indicating Shravanam, not that he read it on his own. Then what did the Guru explain? Shruti Pramanat. He explained the proof from the scriptures or the pronouncements of the scriptures or whatever the scriptures were saying were explained by the Guru to the disciple, indicating Shravanam. Then, and by his own reasoning, indicating Mananam. So he has done Mananam, which is the purpose of Mananam is to remove all the doubts. Because the Guru might say something, but you will have your own doubts. We all have our own doubts. Those have to be removed in Mananam. And then with the senses controlled and mind fixed is Nididhyasana, indicating Nididhyasana. Because in meditation, that is what we do. We control the body and then we try to control the mind. So at an auspicious moment, because any moment that we realize is an auspicious moment. Think about it, when just in our ordinary life, if something, we hear some happy news or we become happy, we think, what an auspicious day. Today I heard some good news, or this moment I heard, right? Little finite happiness, we think that moment is auspicious. If he gained the infinite, how auspicious will that moment be? So therefore, at an auspicious moment, when he has done Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, he has realized, and because he has realized, his mind is now completely stabilized, because the mind is transcended actually. Because it is transcended, because the pure consciousness is beyond body, mind, intellect, so he has become very still. Nistaranga is the word that is used. Bhagwan only used it earlier in the meditation verses. If I may remind you, Nistaranga means there are these waves of thoughts that are going, they freeze. That's Taranga is waves. Nistaranga means no waves. No waves of what? No waves of thought. So the mind is still. Once the mind is still, body doesn't take long to be still. The body is moving because the mind is pushing it. Do this, do that. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to hear that. I want to do this. I want to eat that. This. The mind is what is initiating action. If the mind itself is, that is the whole purpose of gaining dispassion. If there is dispassion in the mind, if the mind only doesn't want to do something, the body is not going to do. The body is not going to do. The body is doing actions because the mind is pushing. Now the mind is transcended. There's no question of a push from the mind. Mind is still. Body also will be automatically still. And now we have the words of the disciple. Kinchit kalam samadhaya pare brahmani manasam utthaya paramananda idam vachanam abravit. After concentrating his mind on the Supreme Brahman for some time, he rose and out of supreme bliss, he spoke as follows. So in that auspicious moment, he realized that he is the self. He realized that the self in me is the self in all. He realized that I am the substratum of this entire world. He realized that I am the source of bliss. There is no more happiness to be gained from this world. I'm the one that is supporting the world. How can I get happiness from that? All this thing he realized in that one moment. It's only a momentary thing. Remember that realization only takes a fraction of a second. What takes time is the sadhana, the effort. Okay. So he has now, that effort is purushartha. That is, he has put in, he has realized, and now he gets up, and these are the words that now he's going to speak. Buddhir vinashta galita pravrittihi brahmatmanore katayadhigatya idam na jane pyanidam na jane kim va kiyadva sukhamastya param. My intellect is completely raised and all activities have dropped off by realizing the oneness of Atman and Brahman. I understand neither this nor not this, nor do I know what or of what measure is this endless bliss. Intellect is completely raised. Raised is destroyed. Here is not destroyed. It is transcended. The mind and the intellect. Intellect word is used, includes mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. All the subtle body is transcended. And all activities have dropped off. I told you, activities are pushed by the mind. We'll see that in detail in chapter 18. Bhagwan is going to explain that very much in detail there. That who initiates action? How is action initiated? And action is initiated by the mind. So if the mind itself is transcended, action cannot be initiated. And therefore he says, there's nothing for me to do because I have recognized my oneness with everything. Atman here referring to the Jivatma, Brahman, supreme reality. Jiva Brahma Aikya, he has realized that is what self-realization is. When I keep thinking that this Jiva, this I am separate from everybody else, that is Dvaita. Now that Dvaita has gone, Advaita has come, non-duality has come, he has recognized. And he says, I understand neither this nor not this. Our whole life is a division between this and that, me and you, this and that. So that book, this me, this body, this I. So whole life is a duality. All actions are happening in duality. There is a triad. So he says, there is nothing you and me remaining because I am only everything. I am the substratum of the entire world. I am the substratum that is supporting this body, not only this one body, but all the bodies. So that oneness, so the oneness between self in me and the self in all. All this happens simultaneously. It is not like he recognizes this jiva to be Paramatma. Then what about your jiva? Is that Paramatma? Is that something else? Not like that. Not like that. Once I recognize what I have to do is I have to only try to recognize my oneness with the Supreme. Everything else will fall in place. It's like a domino effect. That's what that has happened to him. And then he says, of what measure I cannot tell you, endless bliss. In Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a measurement of happiness. Taittiriya gives it very this thing. So basically it starts 1 unit of measure, 1 unit of happiness. They say that the person who has control over the entire universe, that's where it starts. So he is most handsome, he is most healthy, he is most rich. That is 1 unit of happiness. That's where you begin. Now imagine, there's no way. Okay, if that is 1 unit of happiness, 100 times more is the happiness of Swarga, 100 times more is the happiness. So it goes on multiplying 100 times, 100 times, 100 times until it reaches Brahma Loka, where it is like so many times greater happiness than this person who is the king of the entire world, entire universe, all the solar systems he owns. Okay, that is 1 unit. And imagine, go up 100 times, 100 times, 100 times through all the 7 lokas to Brahma Loka. And 100 times of that is bliss of Supreme Brahman. Can't even imagine. Okay, this is what he's saying. Sukhamastyapar, aparam. There is apara, there is no limit. There's no limit to the happiness. It is a source of bliss. Here, when we say Galita pravrittihi, pravrittihi is to engage in action. Galita is gone. So engagement in action is gone. Means what? In the mind, we have what we call as a psychological ego, psychological mind, and a functional mind. The functional mind is the one that knows things. The functional mind is the one that knows how to cook, how to drive, how to write, how to read. how to do things. The psychological mind is the one that is taking credit for all this. See how good I am at studying, how good I am at cooking, how good I can read. I know so many languages. Knowing the languages is a function of the functional memory or functional mind. Taking credit for it is the function of the psychological mind. Now, when it is said that the person transcends the mind, he doesn't become crazy or he's like mindless and he doesn't know what's going on. What he has transcended is the psychological ego or the psychological mind. So the taking credit for all that functional, whatever the functional mind is doing is gone because the ego is dissolved. So this functional mind will, that's why I realize if a cook, like Nisargadatta Maharaj, he realized he didn't forget how to make the bidis. He didn't forget. That's functional memory. Not like suddenly I'll forget what. He didn't forget he had a wife, where he lived. It doesn't happen like that. Functional memory, functional mind, functional ego remains. But the taking, that is what we are doing. We have the functional mind. We also have a psychological mind. So I do something and then I take, I'm the one that did it and see how good I did it. And I did it better than you. That is Rajas. So that is transcended. The psychological mind is transcended, because of which there is nothing to be done. There's nothing more to be done for him. Okay. Next one is without a meter. Vacha vaktum ashakyam eva manasa mantum na vashakyate. Swananda ananda amrita pura purita. Swananda amrita purita pura purita para brahma ambu dehe vaibhavam ambho rashi vishirna varshika shila bhavam bhajanme manaha yasyam anshalave vilinam adhunam anandatmana nivrittam. Impossible for speech to express. Vacha vaktum ashakyam eva. Ashakya. It is impossible for my speech to explain, to express. It is impossible for the mind to conceive. What is impossible? The splendor of the ocean of the Supreme Brahman, replete with the swell of the nectarine bliss of the self, means I cannot explain how happy I am. I cannot explain that. That's why I told you, like we cannot even explain how happy that man will be, man or woman also, if she owns the entire universe of the solar system. We can't even imagine. That much also we can't imagine. Now, how will we imagine the sukha of, 100 times more Swargalok, 100 times more this, that, this, the Brahmalok? We cannot even imagine. How will imagine the happiness of the supreme reality? That's what he's saying. In an infinitesimal part of it, my mind merged like a hailstone in the ocean is now content with the essence of that bliss. The essence of this verse is that the mind is comparing to a hailstone. See, we have all seen hailstones, small ones, big ones also I've seen. They fell on my head actually and hurt me, but because they're like stone. That's why hailstone, it's like a stone. Now, no matter how big that hailstone is, that falls into the ocean. Is there any comparison? Both are water. Hailstone is also water. Ocean is also water. Is there a comparison between the vastness of the ocean and the hailstone? So that is what he's comparing. He's saying my mind is like the hailstone. See, because mind is essentially Brahman. Substratum of the mind is pure consciousness. Okay. But so substratum of hailstone is what? Water. Substratum of ocean is what? Water. Both are water. But is there any comparison when it is a hailstone and ocean and the ocean? There is no. So he says the mind, that is how my mind is infinitesimal. It's like it's a small, very, very small portion of that bliss. And now it has merged with that supreme bliss. And it is impossible for me to express in words or to even think of how happy I am. Okay. when I go there, I cannot exist. When I come back, I cannot explain. I've underlined that, when you realize the self, I don't exist. The small I doesn't exist, right? It's merged. The hailstone or a salt doll, we have heard the example of the salt doll, which went into the ocean. She doesn't survive. She doesn't survive as the salt doll. She becomes infinite she merges with the ocean. Okay. Kva gatam kena va nitam kutra lenamidam jagat adunaiva maya drishtam nasti kim mahad mahadbhutam. Where has it gone? Who has removed it? Where has the universe merged? Just now it was seen by me. Has it now ceased to be wonder of wonders? Ashcharyavat Kaschidena, chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan also says, it is a great wonder if somebody realizes. It's a great wonder if they can talk about it. It's a great wonder that people listen. That's why it's a great wonder that you are all here to listen to this. That's also a great wonder because nobody wants to listen to this. So everything is a great wonder. So he says this, it's a great wonder that just now the universe was there. Now it is not there. It's merged. In Marathi, there is a bhajan, kirtan, which says that the disciple says that with the grace of my guru, I crossed this ocean of sansar. But when I looked back, there was no ocean and there was no guru either. This is what this is. So the universe is there as long as the mind is there. Mind, that's why in deep sleep, see, that's why we have these three states which are very, in deep sleep, is there a world? Do you know what you're worried about, where you're going tomorrow, what you're going to do tomorrow, your happinesses, joys, sorrows, worries? Nothing exists in deep sleep. Why? It is there. Do you think the worries went away? No. They're there, but your mind is folded. So this entire world, our world, depends on our mind. As long as our mind is awake, the world is there. Now he has transcended the mind. There is no mind. Functional mind is there, but not the psychological mind. So once he transcends the mind, where is the universe? There is nothing. There's nothing other than me. Okay. Kim heyam kimupadeyam kimanyat kim vilakshanam akhandananda piyusha purne brahma maharnave. What is to be accepted and what rejected? What is different and what dissimilar in the mighty ocean of Brahman filled with the nectar of absolute bliss? Compare it to space. See, what is to be accepted and what rejected? There are certain things that we can reject, which are, what is other than me, I can reject. I can reject the house. I can reject my clothes. They're other than me. But I myself, the self in me, can I reject? Can I ever give it up? I can give up my title. I can give up my job. I can give up my money. Whatever is not mine, I can give up. But this is something which is, it is me. Pure consciousness is me. It is not mine. If it was mine, I could give it away. That's what. So now, Kim Hem, Kim Upa, what can I reject? Because everything is me only. See, I can reject the world as long as I think that the world is different from me. I can reject the world. Now his realization is this world is me only. So how I can reject that? That's why he said Kim Hem, Kim Upadayam. What can I reject? Everything is me. I. That is what the realization is. Everything is me. Therefore, I cannot reject anything. Kimanyat kim vilakshanam. What is different from me? Right now, everything is different from me. This computer screen, this house, this pen, this book, this everything I feel different. Manyness. Manyness I see, nana I see, right? I see a variety of things. But once he realized, he says, what is different from me? That is me only. That is my reflection. That is my reflection. That is my reflection. Because I'm supporting the entire world. So what is different from me? Nothing. Akhanda Ananda Piyusha is nectar. Amrit Piyusha. Akhanda Anand, Akhanda unbroken bliss. Unbroken. See, our happiness is broken, na? Always. We are happy when something happens. Then when that thing goes away, we are not happy. That's why it is a pair of dualities. Happiness, when you say, it is the opposite of sorrow. Like Shanti is the opposite of Ashanti. What we need to gain is Prashanti, Prakarshena Shanti. So happiness and sorrow is there, joy and sorrow, these are opposites. So when one is not there, I feel the other. Sorrow is not there, I feel happy. Happiness is not there, I feel sorrow. Bliss is something beyond these two. So no matter whether there is sorrow happening or sorrowful situation happening or happy situation happening, I am in bliss only. So that's why Akhanda, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Akhanda, Ananda, Piyusha, Purne, Brahma, Maharnave. Arnava is ocean. Maha, this is a huge, huge, huge ocean of Ananda, of bliss. And I'm floating in it. Okay? Na kinchidatra pashyami, na shunomi na vedyamaham, swatmanaiva sadananda, rupenasmi vilakshanaha. In this, I neither see nor hear nor know anything. I exist as the Atman, bliss eternal, distinct from everything else. Chapter 5, when we start, verse 8 and 9 is this. So remember this verse. When we study 8 and 9, in that, the description of the realized master is given. He says, I don't see, I don't hear, I don't smell, I don't taste, I don't touch, I don't close my eyes, I don't open my eyes, I don't do anything. Okay, 8 and 9, chapter 5. Now, this is what he's saying here. Na kinchid atra pashami. Pashami na shunomi. So these two are including all the sense organs. Swatman aiva sadananda rupena asmi. So I am that bliss eternal. Now here, let me go a little bit technical. I'll explain to you how technically this happens. What do you mean you don't see? Your eyes are open, you have to see. You've got physical eyes, they just don't go anywhere. You're not become blind that you realize you become blind and can't smell. See, what it is there is, you have heard the word chit, your consciousness, right? And that chit reflects in the subtle body as chidabhasa, known as chidabhasa, right? There is a reflection of consciousness that is happening in our subtle body. Clear? Yes. Okay. That reflection is what is enlivening the matter equipments. Body, mind, and intellect are matter. They fall under the purview of Prakriti. Prakriti is matter, Prakriti is inert. Body, mind, and intellect are inert. They cannot do anything on their own. Yeah. All right. Now, but we see the body. I am myself speaking. What do you mean body can't do anything? You are speaking, we are hearing. How is this phenomena happening? It's happening in the reflected light of the consciousness. So the reflection Chidabhasa is what is illumining all these actions, all the thoughts, all the emotions. You get it? Because of Chidabhasa, this is happening. Now, when the realized master says, I do not see, his Viveka, his discrimination between Chit and Chidabhasa is perfect. Is perfect. So what he means that I do not see, he means I as Chit do not see anything. What is being seen, eaten, tasted, smelled, etc. is being done by Chidabhasa, and I am not Chidabhasa. That is what is the technical explanation of this. We, in our ignorance, for us, Chit and Chidabhasa are one and the same. That is what the definition of Viveka is. What is Viveka? In Tattva Bodh, Sat, Asat, Viveka. Sat, Asat discrimination has to be there. Sat is Chit, Asat is Chidabhasa. This discrimination has become firm in his mind because he has recognized himself to be Chit. We think we are the Chidabhasa and we think Chidabhasa is real. Abhasa, it is Abhasa, it is an illusion which we consider very real. And that's why I'm very hurt when somebody says something rude to me. I'm very hurt. Why? Whereas the realized master knows that what is getting hurt is the Chidabhasa. I am not Chidabhasa. And therefore, whatever the Chidabhasa does, speaks. Who is speaking? Chidabhasa is speaking. Jivatma. Chidabhasa, another word, synonym is Jivatma. Jivatma is speaking. Jivatma is seeing. Jivatma is eating. Jivatma is enjoying. Jivatma thinks I am doing. But I am Chit. And therefore, the realized master says, I do not do anything. So this is from the highest standpoint. And this is exactly what you're going to hear in verse 8 and 9. Okay. All right. Clear? Namo namaste gurave mahatmane vimukta sangaya saduttamaya nityadvayananda rasasvarupine bhumne sadaparadayam budhamne. Salutations to thee, O noble Guru, who art free from attachments, best among the noble ones, the embodiment of the essence of eternal non-dual bliss, who art endless, ever the limitless ocean of mercy. The student is expressing his gratitude towards the Guru. You know, we just studied under our Guru in Sandipani, and whatever knowledge we at least, you know, I feel so grateful, so great. I can imagine like how if any disciple realizes, look at Guruji also, you know, constantly that thought of gratitude never leaves his mind. He will always, you know, always. So if you realize by the grace of the Guru, like how much gratitude, if you're floating in that Akhand Ananda ocean of bliss, how much gratitude you will feel towards the person who has helped you get there. This is what's happening. He says, Namo Namaste. Namo Namaste. Again and again, salutations. Guruve Mahatmane. You are large-hearted. Mahatma, large-hearted. You know why large-hearted? Because the Guru keeps forgiving the mistakes of the disciples. I'm really, he's so compassionate. He is so compassionate. The Sadguru is so compassionate. The disciples go on making mistakes, and he goes on forgiving. And only the disciple knows how much I have done, what I've done to, you know, and then this Guru has forgiven me. Therefore, he says this, you know, he's describing the Guru now. Vimukta Sangaya Saduttamaya. Vimukta, Visheshena Mukta. You are free from all attachments. Because he is also realized master. Sadguru we are talking about. Right? Shravanam, Mundak Upanishad says, Shravanam has to be done from a Brahmanishta and Kshotriya Guru. Brahmanishta is one who is firmly established in Brahman. That is a Sadguru. Others are all teachers. They're not gurus. You know, there's teachers. There is a Sadguru, then there is a Guru, and there is a teacher who is still Acharya, then there is a teacher. So a lot of people teaching. That is not a this thing. But he is free from all attachment because he has himself realized the self. How can he be attached to anything? What is there to be attached to? We are attached because we think something is other than us. That is why I'm attached. Now I think this person is different from me. This world is different from me. This thing, whatever object is different from me. So I get attached. If it is me only, I've given you the example of walking into a hall of mirrors. You know, will you ever get attached? You will see different types of reflections in the different types of mirrors, depending upon how the mirror is made. So you will see small, big, fat, thin, whatever. Will you like something or dislike something else, because you know that it is you only. There is a question of liking or disliking. It's you that way. So he doesn't this thing. Best among the saduttamai, uttama, among the sad, you're the best among the best. Sadguru, right? Why? Because you help me cross the ocean of sansar. Nitya Advayananda Rasaswarupini. Swarupa, you're the essence of that eternal, Nitya, eternal Advaya Ananda. Advaya, Advaita means the oneness. Means I recognize that you are also floating. I mean, I knew already that you were already floating in that bliss of happiness. So you are that. So my salutations, Bhumne, infinite. One who is Bhuma means infinite, and Bhumne is one who is infinite. So why is he infinite? Because he has become one with Brahman. Brahman is infinite, so Guru also is infinite. The disciple also has become infinite now. Like the hailstone has merged with the ocean. So the hailstone is, small hailstone has become this infinite ocean. Sada apara daya Ambudhamne. Always all Sadgurus, they are called the ocean of compassion. Ocean means that much compassion that they have, that they go on forgiving the mistakes of the disciples. Okay. Expression of gratitude. Yat Kataksha Shashisandra Chandrika Pata Dhuta Bhavatapajashramaha Praptavanahamakhanda Vaibhava Anandamatma Padamakshayam Kshanat, whose glance, like a cascade of moonbeams, has removed my fatigue caused by the miseries of the world and taken me to the indestructible bliss of infinite splendor, the Atman, in but a moment. Kataksha, this Guru, Kataksha is, what? When you look sideways, like that, when your pupils go sideways. So it is said that the Guru he doesn't even have to look at the disciple. The disciple who is really fit, he does this and that's it. The disciple will realize that's it. That is the power of the Guru. Just that one Kataksha in one moment. Please understand that this happened in one moment because the disciple had put in a lot of effort before. Huh? So don't think that some Guru will come and he'll just do a Kataksha and I'll realize. And so why do I have to attend class and study? It's not like that. But the disciple feels. So, and they were like, the moon rays are very cooling. No? Sun is very hot and tapa is there, temperature is there, heat is there, but moon is very, very, very cooling. So that's why there can be an angry glance also, no? But his glance is compared to the moon rays. So they were very cooling. And cooling for what? I was being tortured by this heat of sansar, all these sorrows coming at me, all the temptations, problems, everything. Just by one glance, you have released me from all these sorrows. That's why he says, and you have taken me to the indestructible. So see, the disciple doesn't say, I did everything, self-effort, and I realized. That is the point. What we do something in this life. Hey, I did, and I got that promotion. I got the bonus. I got whatever. The I is always there because this I is now dissolved. So all credit he's giving to the Guru. Full credit. You did this. Though he has put self-effort. That's why I'm telling you. Disciple has put in a lot of self-effort. The last part is grace. But he doesn't take credit for that self-effort. Even though he has put it in, he says, no, it is because of my Guru's grace only that I got enlightened. This is what he's saying. Okay. And his glance is like the moon rays. It has a cooling effect on me. Dhanyoham kritakrityoham vimuktoham bhavagrahat nityananda swarupoham purnoham tvadanugrahat. Blessed am I. I have attained the fulfillment of my life. I am completely liberated from the clutches of the shark of sansar. The Bhagwan Shankaracharya also has written another text called Dhanyashtakam. So Ashtakam. So there are 8 verses, and on Dhanyata, on gratitude, he has written 8 verses. So there, this is what this is. Dhanyoham kritakrityoham. Kritakritya word, kritakritya is whatever is to be done, I have done. That is what is kritakritya. That is the meaning of kritakritya. Krita, to do, kritya, done. So whatever has to be done is done. You know, when we, even as parents, if the children grow up and they are on their way and independent and they're well settled, we feel kritakritya. Because it was my duty to raise these children, and now they are raised and they're on their own and they're independent and everything. So we feel that is what kritakritya. Whatever I needed to do, I have done. This, he's saying, dhanyaham, I'm so blessed, right? Like, imagine, that's why I told you, like, even when we get this knowledge and we can deal with situations in life, we can neutralize situations very easily. If you really grasp this knowledge, that is the whole thing. One thing is, it will give fearlessness. One thing is, when disturbing situations come, we need to be able to neutralize them on our own without talking to anybody. In our mind, we need to remember this, what we have studied, and then neutralize that situation in the mind only, without any kind of external, you know. So he says, I am kritakritya, whatever is to be, that's it. There's nothing more for me to do now. All his life, you know, we always have a to-do list. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do sadhana. That is also a to-do list. Oh, I have to do sadhana. I must be disciplined. I have to read so many verses per day. We will always have a to-do list. But once we reach this stage of self-realization, he has become vimuktoham, visheshena muktaha. That's it. No more, completely bhavagrahat, bhava sansara. This ocean of sansara, I'm completely liberated from the thraldom of sansara, from the thraldom of birth and death. No more birth for me. This birth is only sorrow. Nitya Ananda Swarupoham. I am the essence of Nitya, eternal Ananda. Purna, I am Purna, full, infinite. Only in finitude, you know, when there is finitude, there is sorrow, small things. Infinity, there is no sorrow. Tvada anugrahat. That's why again he says Tvada, by your grace. So even though he has put in self-effort, he is not taking credit. He is not saying, I put in effort and I got all this. He will never say. Other people, you know, when we reach heights in our job or whatever, we think, I am a self-made man, self-made. I you know, did this, and we say. But a realized person will never say that about his guru. He will never say that I did it on this on my own. So he says, everything, all this, I became blessed. I became kritakritya, means chapter 15, Bhagwan uses this word, that whatever is to be done, all this is because of your grace. So he gives the whole credit, he gives to his guru. Okay, actually, please understand that without self-effort, this grace is not going to come. Again, I'm telling you, he has actually put in self-effort and realized. But does he say that? He doesn't say that. He says it is because of your grace. Asangoham anangoham alingoham abhanguraha prashantoham anantoham amaloham chirantanaha. Asanga, unattached am I, disembodied am I, free from the subtle body am I, and undecaying, serene am I, infinite am I, unsullied am I, and endless too. So asango, unattached. The rope is never attached to the snake. Right? The snake cannot poison the rope. The snake cannot frighten the rope. Is always unattached. Now he has recognized himself to be the rope. So he knows I'm attached. I've got nothing, no attachments. Because I'm the attachment, I told you again also, is to something else. There is nothing else. Who does he get attached to? There's nothing else. Disembodied, gross body negated. Alingoham. Linga is indicator. So subtle body, the pranas or the subtle body is called Linga Sharira also, one name. And the reason it is called Linga Sharira indicator is because, you know, if you think of whether, if you're doubting whether a person is sleeping or gone, this is what you'll do. Is he breathing? So the pranas, or hold a mirror, you know, is the mirror getting fogged up? Oh, then he's just in deep sleep, you know. So it is a linga, it is an indicator. That's why the subtle body is also sometimes called as Linga Sharira. Okay, Sukshma Sharira is more common. Linga Sharira also, because it is an indicator of whether the person is alive or not. That's why. So he says, I'm beyond the pranas, so I am not this. So he's negating gross body, subtle body, causal body. Aham abhanguraha. So I cannot be divided, means I have no parts. Space, like space. Can you divide space? No, you can't. Just an imaginary. You've just constructed walls and then we say this is this room, that room, but really you cannot divide. Prashanta, I told you, Prashanta is beyond Shanta and Ashanta. If you say Shanti, it is opposite of Ashanti, but Prashanti is neither opposite of Shanti, nor is it opposite of Ashanti. That's Prakarshena Shanta, means whether the situation is conducive or non-conducive, I am peaceful. That's what it means. Anantoham, endless, infinite, I'm infinite. Amaloham, mala, taint. If there is something else that falls on my cloth or my clothes, or what, something else has to be there to taint me, there is nothing other than me. How will I get tainted? Therefore, Chirantanaha, endless. Ananta, Chira. Okay? All right. He's just describing, like I told you, this is the description of the pure self, because he has identified himself with the pure self. अकर्ताहम भोक्ताहम अविकारोहम अक्रियः शुद्ध बोध स्वरूपोहम केवलोहम सदाशिवः. I am not the doer. I am not the experiencer. I am without modification and without activity. I am the embodiment of pure knowledge. I am absolute and eternal, auspicious am I. This doer, he has come to recognize that the doer is Chidabhasa and not Chit. I am the Chit. Perfect Vivek, this is perfect discrimination, because the highest definition of discrimination is between Sat and Asat. There are lots of other discriminations. Shreya Preya Vivek is there, Sadhana Sadhya Vivek is there, Ansha Anshi Vivek is there, a lot of other Viveks are there. But the one definition that Shankaracharya has given in Tattva Bodh is Sat Asat, which is the highest. To reach that highest discrimination, you have to start at Shreya Preya, which Kathopanishad has told us. What is good for me and what is pleasant for me, what is pleasing to my senses or what is good for me, and what is pleasing should be given up and what is good should be taken up. And this will then ultimately lead to Sat Asat. Now his Sat Asat Vivek is absolutely perfect. That's why he says, I am not the doer. Whatever actions are happening, they're happening in my presence. Because of me, this action is happening. Or if you were to look at it from chapter 14 angle, then he says everything is happening because of the play of the gunas. I am not doing anything. I'm only illumining the gunas. The gunas guna guneshu vartante. So that also, that is when he says I am not the doer, he has gained it through knowledge, because we saw Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, okay? But I'm just telling you. Or if you were a bhakta, for us, how do you want to reach the state of akarta? Either you consider everything, be firm in the thought that everything is happening in the purview of prakriti. Everything is happening because of the gunas. You perfect that. That is the Sankhya philosophy, where prakriti purusha vivek is done. That is, if that is perfected, that's okay. You will reach akarta. Or you become the bhakta. everything is being done by God. Who am I to do anything? God is taking care of everything. God is doing it. That also you will be able to reach. Or then you do the Vivek between Chit and Chidabhasa. Know that everything is happening, is being done by Chidabhasa. I am Chit. So there is nothing that I am doing. Then doership is negated, enjoyership is automatically negated. If I am not done, our whole thing is I am doing and I will enjoy. That is our thing. This will be very much detailed. Bhagwan is giving explanation in chapter 8, and very beautiful explanation here. I mean, it's Bhagwan talking. What am I saying? Avikaraha. Like, what can I say? but I like, it's, what can I say? I just feel lucky that I'm getting a chance to read and understand myself and explain. That's all I feel. Avikara, changeless. Nothing is changing. Akriyaha, without activity. We have seen this in chapter 2 also. Na? He doesn't kill and he doesn't make anybody else kill, and nobody can kill him, and Atma cannot commit suicide also. Maybe the Purupakshan says, but maybe Atma doesn't kill anybody, but maybe it can kill itself. No, he can't kill itself also. He cannot commit suicide. He cannot kill any murder, no suicide. He cannot do anything. He's a karta. Shuddha bodha swarupa, pure essence of knowledge. So chit, sat chit and ananda we have chit. Kevaloham, kevala. Kaivalya Upanishad is that kevala, alone. I alone am. Sadashiva, ever auspicious. We'll stop here today, 419, and we'll continue from 491, and we'll continue. Any questions? All these ideas you have heard, so that's why I'm going a bit fast. Okay.
Is Chidabhasa same like ego?
Yeah.
The same thing. Okay.
Jivatma, Jiva, Jivatma, Ahankara, Chidabhasa, all synonyms.
Okay, I am a little confused about this conscience, which is, I can understand, but still little doubts there. When we say this conscience makes everything to do, it's like I see, speak, work, whatever. But there are instances, or there are people who are living, their eyes are there, their ears are there, but they are not reacting, they are not speaking, they are not hearing. Where is this conscience then? Because of conscience, we are there, right?
But what do you mean they are not hearing? They are
like no reaction. There is nothing. The person, I have seen it in a hospital. That's why I'm asking.
Hospital you have seen? Okay.
Yes, I have seen in hospital a kid, very beautiful kid, about 3-4 years old, and he's growing physically, but he cannot grab a spoon.
Okay.
He cannot react to anything.
Okay.
So it makes me a little bit,
wonder.
if
Yeah.
conscience is there,
yeah,
what is happening to his other things?
Okay. So you have to understand that, say electricity is there, but the bulb is fused. There's a defect in the upadhi.
So there are lots of defects.
Equipment, there is a defect. See, people are getting dementia now.
Yes.
Right? People get dementia, right? So you cannot say where is consciousness is there, because the body, they're breathing, they're living.
Yeah, that's what.
Right? But the mind is defective. So there is forgetfulness. There's confusion. People get a stroke. Right? So the hand is there. And if you look at a person who has had a stroke, you'll think absolutely normal. But when the person tries to lift their arm, they can't. Consciousness is there, but the upadhi is defective. So that doesn't mean that consciousness is not there. That has to be understood. Life is an expression of consciousness. It is not consciousness itself. Because if life was consciousness itself, then when life goes away from the body, consciousness also will go. But consciousness doesn't go. Consciousness is there even in the dead body. And because of that consciousness, if you leave the dead body alone, it is going to decompose.
Will we say that consciousness is in dead body, or will we say the existence is there in dead body?
The existence and consciousness are one and the same. We have never said existence and consciousness is different. How can the body decompose without the presence of consciousness? Nothing can happen without the presence of consciousness. Understand this to be clear. Hold it in your mind. Hold it in your mind.
Jayaji,
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that if some of your senses are not working, then maybe that's happened so that we can focus on going within more, and maybe those senses are not needed for that in that lifetime.
That is, yeah, that you can always see, because the other senses become very sharp, and you can say
Yeah.
that. That is not an indication of the consciousness is not there.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can say anything, like, yeah, that's fine. You can think like that. That's fine. Prarabdha is there also of that person, right? There is prarabdha which is in full force. Prarabdha karma is in full force while we are living. So because of that, maybe some people, as we get older, eyes fade, ears, hearing aids, and all kinds of things are happening, right?
And sometimes people are like that for a long time. So it can be product from previous karmas or things you've done in this life. So
Yep.
you're just paying it back.
Yep. Yeah. Very true. Because the results either are because of karmas done in previous lives, or they can be results because of things done in this life also. And the most common example is a person who smokes gets lung cancer. But does that mean that one who doesn't smoke doesn't ever get lung cancer? He can also get, but he didn't smoke in this life. So previous, right? Law of karma is very complicated that way. It's simple and yet it's complicated. Okay, so Sunday there is a class. We'll be continuing with discussion on chapter 4. Monday we are starting chapter 18, a most beautiful chapter. So just so that you know, and hopefully I'll see all of you there. Yes, is there a question?
Yes, you mentioned the word bhuma. In which verse or which chapter or where is it mentioned, the bhuma?
Bhuma is it? We just saw it in one of the verses right here.
Oh,
Bhumnai
okay.
we saw.
Okay.
The verse 487.
Okay, thank you.
Bhumne sada paradayambu dhamne. Bhuma is infinite. Bhumne is one who is infinite. So it's calling the Guru infinite because the Guru is one with the infinite.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll close for today and I'll see you on Sundays, some of you. Om swasti prajabhyav paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyaha prithvi sasya shalini desho yam kshobarahita brahmana santu nirbhayaha. Om sarvesham swasti bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu sarvesham purnam bhavatu sarvesham mangalam bhavatu sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।